I'm not out here just complaining, not protesting just to protest.
Oh.
You have plans. You've given them alternate options besides the Pike and the gas. I mean, right now they've narrowed down to either the Pike or the gas, right?
Correct.
Right. There's plans C and D, Tom.
Now you've come up with plans C and D.
Right, and we could even go to E, but C would be to sell the service plazas on the Turnpike to so they get the lease monies from that, and that could generate. It's speculated anywhere between $200 and $300 million as a one-time cash payment.
Now, what are they raising this money, the Pike money, for?
Well, the Pike has debt service due to the Big Dig mismanagement.
Okay.
So the Pike is saddled with, the people that ran the Turnpike Authority and have been running and wreaking havoc with our government have signed all these bad deals and swaptions and all these complicated bond funds that basically all have balloon payments if certain quotas aren't met. So because of the economy and the way things are and the problems they have with the road, the bonds keep getting downgraded, and if they get downgraded to a certain level, it generates these balloon payments of $400 million and so forth to the taxpayers, which is crazy because it's for like a $100 million loan. But
So bottom line, right now they're looking for $100 million.
Yes, that was what they did the toll increase for.
And these service stations that you're talking about would generate
two to 300
million. And what did Deval Patrick say about that?
He supposedly, as of in the Globe last week, was looking into the proposal and was saying it could be a viable option, and let's explore it further.
You've done your research. You've talked to the proper people on that.
Well, we took a lot of this research came from Christy Myhos, who was the former Turnpike worker, but Turnpike board member, who was fired because he was trying to clean up part of the Turnpike, which they didn't want. A lot of them. If you look at the people on the Turnpike and your elected officials and their last names, and you go to the Boston Herald's website to see tax dollars at work, and you look at the names of the people who work for the Turnpike and these other various agencies, oddly enough, you might see some names that coincide.
No way.
Yeah, I know it's a shocker, Tom. I don't
still exists in Massachusetts.
No way. I don't believe it at all.
Yeah.
So what was Plan D?
That was the state senate came out with a proposal last week also. Saying we don't need a gas tax, we don't need a toll hike, we don't need to perhaps sell all the plazas, we could lease or something, but they could reform the system. We have, dozens of departments running the transportation system here in Massachusetts. When Deval Patrick ran for governor, he said one of his first orders of business was going to be reform the transportation system. Well, we've been sitting for 2 years. There has been no comprehensive reform coming out of the governor's office. And
maybe he's waiting for Barack Obama.
Well, that brings us back to another point. The system is broken. Yeah. We are constantly, hemorrhaging money, and they're not looking to solve the root of the problem. And because of it, you can't borrow yourself out of debt, Tom, and the debt is going to continue to grow.
I've tried. I've gone from one credit card to the next, to the next.
And you can't do it.
No.
So we actually held a rally January 15th, and Alan was there. And
so that's the problem with government in general, is that they feel that the easy fix is to come back for taxpayers for more money, when the easy fix is always to solve the problem. In the long run, it'll always be cheaper, and it'll always be better if you actually solve the problem. They just want to cover up the screw-ups and the big dig by throwing money at it, and that's not so let's say that they do this, and they cover up the big dig, so the next project down the line is going to have the same problem.
Remember last January they raised the tolls, and they said when they raised it a quarter that time and 50 cents, there wasn't as much outrage because people understood it was the first time they'd raised the tolls in 18 years, and there was a promise, and the promise was we were going to fix the system. So they came back a year later, and the way they fixed it was to double the tolls. It's like, these are smart people, and this is what they came up with. It's
not very creative.
I blame the voters too, but that's okay. I blame everybody. Everyone but me. So.
Well, we're going to change that too, because now that we have moved the issue from the MTA board, who are appointed, we didn't elect any of these people. They were appointed by governors. Now the ball has been put into the court of our legislators, the MTA board today, and Mike can talk about.
I can talk a little bit about what happened today. Well, they had their monthly board meeting, and it was the first one that the new Secretary of Transportation, James Aloisi, was there. And basically they all went around, they said, we're not going to vote on the toll hike today as they had originally planned, because they legally can now. They had to wait a certain grace period to do the toll after the hearings in order to further to read all the letters that were sent, which I'm sure they read, and all that. Because they care about their constituents is the main thing. But anyway, so they went around. All four board members who were there. One of them was on the conference on the phone. He couldn't make it today. But it's a once a month thing. But anyway,
they vote by proxy.
And they've known about the meeting, what, a 3 weeks? They couldn't make it. They were scheduled.
But
it must be meeting with Barack.
Right. But anyway.
By the way, I rail on Barack, but I love Barack. And I love DeVal too, actually.
And we wish them, only
I know I'm just kidding when I talk about these guys, but I just want to put that out there so I don't get stoned in the morning.
That's fine. But anyway, so they went around and they talked about what we should do as a Turnpike board, and they went through the different problems they have, that they need capital improvements, and they went through all the different bridges and tunnels that are crumbling, and he had little pieces of them that he brought in because, just show what the problems were in some slides, which is real, and I understand they need road maintenance, and that's great, but with all the money you collect in tolls and all the money you pay these toll workers, you could easily maintain the roads to a much better standard than you're doing now. And basically said was we're going to postpone the vote until we're going to give the legislature some time, because at all these hearings, a lot of the legislators who spoke said, give us time to do a comprehensive transportation reform so we can fix this problem, because it's bigger than just the Turnpike Authority. It has to do with the MBTA, it has to do with Mass Highway, and there's 12 different transportation agencies in the state of Massachusetts. I mean, it's enough. You need to set it up to one and streamline it. Centralize it, streamline it, and do some different things. So anyway, so now basically, they said was we're going to vote it in February because we have to. They have two different alternatives. One's a graduated system, which raises the tolls to $5 at the tunnels and raises the tolls a quarter at the Weston tolls, and at the Alston-Brighton tolls would each go up a quarter. But and then in June, if nothing's done, then they raise it another quarter at each one, and they raise the tolls to $7 at the tunnels as they originally intended.
Are these the same people that promised us that they'd get rid of the tolls altogether once it pays for the Pike?
It's the same board, but I think some of the members have switched over the years. But yeah, it's the same organization. It's the same organization.
That's a relief. So
the message is now. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tom. So the message is now turned towards we're turning towards the governor and the legislator, because basically the ball's been put in their court. So we sent out an email to all 10,000 of our members this afternoon saying, call your rep, call your senator, call the governor, and tell them, look, we elected you into office. You're put into office to solve problems, to do legislation. Well, here's a great opportunity to do some legislation and fix this problem.
And you're giving them the solution.
Right. Well, we're giving them
a solution anyway.
Right. And they can talk. I'm sure if they put all those heads together, they can probably come up with one that's maybe even better. But one of the board members of the Turnpike today, actually two of them, said that their own agency shouldn't exist. So that should really send a message when
how much are they budgeted for? That agency.
Oh, I don't have the numbers in front of me, Spencer.
Well, they bring in revenues of about $250 million off the tolls alone, forgetting about the plazas and
real estate,
the advertising and everything.